of things I want to talk about in this video, and I better get started. I am in my flat completely alone, which is very, very rare. In fact, it might be the first time it's happened ever. I live with 7 other American students. 3 of them are in Istanbul, 2 of them are in Paris, and 2 of them are out partying for the night. Of course, being the old lady that I am, I decided to stay in and drink tea. Sorry, I had to take off my scarf. It was way too hot in here. As Vicky mentioned in her video, I was in Paris last weekend, which was incredible. I found it really interesting that you talked about when you're traveling how people perceive the world. I was thinking about this a lot in the past week. Do you want to hear a joke that my professor told me? So, what do you call someone who speaks 3 or more languages? Multilingual? And what do you call someone who speaks 2 languages? Bilingual? And what do you call someone who speaks 1 language? American! So that might not be the nicest way to put it, but it explains in the simplest terms that Americans aren't the greatest at thinking internationally. One of my favorite things about my program is that the professors really strive to make their course material relevant to the fact that you are abroad. One of the things I noticed when I was in Paris is that even though I don't speak French, I don't speak any language other than English very well, but it was kind of odd being completely surrounded by people who were speaking a different language. Luckily, I had Gina and Caroline who helped me out in most situations, but most of the weekend was spent like, Gina, will you order for me? Caroline, how do you say this? Or just sitting passively, not understanding what's going on. One of the things I noticed is that it's a lot easier to be someone who doesn't speak the language in a European country. If you're someone from a European country who doesn't speak English and you're in America, you're kind of lost. There's no help for you. Even on like public signs here, most of the time in a tube station, it'll be translated into 3 or 4 different languages. In Paris, it's definitely translated into a bunch of different languages. Even the intercom on the metro in Paris will announce in 2 or 3 different languages. Okay, so I've rambled about this enough. Last week, I picked some kind of crappy articles from my Metro newspaper, which I apologize for. My last video was a hot mess. I'm not even going to try to defend it. But truthfully, there hasn't been anything really crazy going on. Some of my favorite things in these newspapers are the teeny tiny little articles, like this one, and it's called The Kayak Commuters. Essentially, 2 guys, instead of trying to work through rush hour to work and from work, they kayak on the Thames. I love their caption. They call them canooters. So I saw a lot of really amazing things in Paris. I happened to be visiting when there was this arts festival going on called Nuit Blanche. It's basically an all-night arts festival. So there are museums and like public and private galleries and outdoor exhibitions that are all over the city. It's just the coolest thing ever. And so I didn't book a hostel for Saturday night, and we stayed out all night traipsing around Paris, and we saw the sunrise from the Sacre-Cœur, and it was like life-changingly amazing. But I got a lot of really fun footage from that night, so I will post some of it here. So Vicky and I discussed this before. We were wondering if we should include challenges, or should we ask each other questions? Is there anything that you guys want to see? Is there anything in London that you guys specifically want to see? I can go and complete a challenge out in the city. I'm going to be traveling to a bunch of random places over the next couple months. So are there places you guys want me to go? Anything like that. Just leave comments, suggest things. DFTBA. It's go time. Let's do this. There is someone screeching outside. I lost my train of thought. In actuality, I'm wearing pajama pants. Feel free to judge me. I guess not. So, oh well.